Hey everyone, this is Jason Howell, and I figured I'd give a little bit of commentary on the commentary Chris Chan did for his number 17 issue. I figured I'd give a little bit of insight into the history of sort of how Chris Chan came to be, and just how everything on Encyclopedia Dramatica sort of came together. So, sit back, enjoy, and I'll try to explain a few things. Basically, with Chris Chan, the first I heard about him was on 4chan around, what was it, 2000, it was the end of 2007. Basically, we found his comic webpage, and there was a lot of topics about on like VA, CO, and all that, comic book board, video games, and all that. Basically, it was a hot topic at the time because, when we first found him, it was sort of this insane, rambling sort of deal. We didn't really know what it was about because he linked his MySpace to it, and it had some stuff on it, but it wasn't too clear at this point how deep, deeply troubled this guy was. So we started to get new info, after seeing, his blogs. Stuff like how he got arrested, stuff about like a trial or something. I don't remember if he wrote anything about Mary Lee Walsh, but I think he did, but it's been so long I barely remember. Then shortly after that, I created the Encyclopedia Dramatica page. If you don't know what Encyclopedia Dramatica is, it's sort of a website that sort of talks about like the most hated people on the internet. It doesn't. Not everyone on the site is the most hated, but a lot of people on there. You'll see a lot of people from DeviantArt, Gaia, all this other horrible crap, all the furry people, scary people. But basically, I sort of made the page and did the basic stuff to it. I put like all the info we found out so far, which wasn't much. It was like a few pictures. I think we found the Nintendo Power page of him writing a letter about a game called Sprung and how it helped him in his relationships or whatever, which is an obvious lie. But what else? And then we made all this fan art of him, sort of all the stuff that came out so far, and we sent it to him. First time we ever got anything from him was when he sort of responded and said, "Oh, stop drawing my creations with penises," or something like that.
When was that taken? Did someone sneak through
that was sort of the point where people, we figured out how to get to him, but at this point he wasn't making YouTube videos. So that was sort of the beginning in a way. I forget which date it was. It was sometime in 2007, late 2007. I think October or November.
To my most distressed distaste is the apex of the page.
You could probably find on the 4chan archive somewhere all the old topics of him, just sort of slowly discovering everything he did over time. I think like the biggest thing that stuck out in my mind was this one blog we found of this one employee at the mall he sort of stalked at. What he basically did was he brought his Nintendo, his Game Boy Advance there, and he just sort of paced around in front, just pacing back and forth, watching like Pokemon or something on it. And this woman was working at a shop at the time, and eventually Chris came in and started to flirt with her. He did it really, really horribly. The girl was mortified. She had to deal with other creepy people before, and Chris was one of them. And what Chris did, thing is, Chris was wearing the medallion too, and she described that perfectly. What Chris did was he took out this business card with a picture of Sonic Chew on it and gave it to her. and tried to get her number, and she was sort of resistant. It was pretty fucking hilarious at the time. That was like one of the first things we found. And then slowly we sort of dug up who Mary Lee Walsh was. And we found out that he went... she was sort of the dean at this one college. I think he went to it at one point, but basically what he did was he brought this sign asking for girlfriend-free boyfriend-free girlfriend, and she came and took down the sign, and then we found out from emails later that he had meetings with her and all that about the entire thing, about the whole ordeal, about him being banned and all this other stuff. That I think I emailed Mary Lee Walsh about all like the YouTube videos he made of her. Shit. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? He I actually what he basically did was he made some YouTube videos of her in Soul Calibur 3 and sort of beat her up a little bit. That was sort of crazy. He was, and he also made a comic about her too. Was that Mary Walsh? She made a YouTube video. I think it was her. I think it was someone else too. He made like several videos of just people he hated in real life.
If I've told you once,
and beat him up in Soul Calibur. He was demented back then. But I actually emailed Mary Lee Walsh and told her about like the comic and what he did. I never got a response back. So I guess at that point she pretty much knew that he was sort of fucking crazy, but I guess she just sort of ignored it. What else back then?
And I can't help but appreciate the stealth teachings of my father.
Then there was the incident where we found out about him trying to find a girlfriend at Target. Apparently, based on what we know now, it was apparently a new Target, and the managers came out and talked to him and asked him to leave, and he refused, and they called the cops. And he called them jerk-offs or something like that. Jerk-offs, or I don't know. But apparently he tried to run, and then the cops chased after him and nailed him to the floor. He said they hog-tied him, but you know how cops are, especially with a crazy like Chris. And I'm sure, you know, him and his pedo glasses and, you know, his medallion. I'm sure he looked pretty fucking scary back then, too. I think that's the thing he went to court about, and I think they eventually dismissed that because probably because of his autism, his father probably got him off. But yeah, that's basically what we found out back then. Sort of this small details of him just being him.
Yeah, he dashed him right behind him.
But afterwards, he sort of got a little more aggressive. He started to make YouTube videos a little more. Around that time, it died down a little bit, but he started saying crap. He found out about the Encyclopedia Dramatica webpage, and he went ballistic. He made some YouTube videos about it, and then
my lady friend and I have a 2
where I came in was he actually sent me a message on Encyclopedia Dramatica asking me why I did that, and I sent him an email back, which is the one he read on YouTube, and that was like the first time he, you know, addressed one of the quote-unquote trolls on the internet, and that was sort of the beginning of a lot of things for him.
Gee. Thanks.
Hey everyone, here's part 2 of the Sonic Chew commentary. This version's a little bit more cleaned up. I went back and just sort of re-recorded the commentary because the first one had a lot of like pauses. So hopefully this one will be a lot better. If there's any problems, just let me know. Just sit back and enjoy. He was actually pretty scary. I actually did something really stupid. I sent him my phone number in my email. So what he did was he looked me up and he found my MySpace profile and also the city I lived in. So that scared me a little bit. I even said that sent him an email saying, "Oh, how am I sure you're not going to come and find me and kill me or something?" Because Chris is pretty fucking crazy. And at the time, I was dating this one girl named Kathleen, and she was on my top spot on MySpace. It wasn't really obvious at the time that I was dating her. There was really nothing indicating on my MySpace page that I was. And I guess he just sort of assumed that she was my girlfriend because of that, and he was right. And he made the comic based sort of off my MySpace. That was sort of a surprise, too, about the comic, since I first found out about the comic he made on 4chan. When I first logged on, everyone was talking about it, and I went on his website and checked it out, and it was fucking hilarious. I'm usually pretty easygoing about stuff, and unless it's something really, really bad, I'm usually not too worried about it. And this is just hilarious in the way he portrayed me. This big wizard dude, and just being this evil person in charge of 4-cent garbage. Actually, a lot of people thought my appearance was based off Big Boss, because I was such a Metal Gear fan. And actually, the picture he based my appearance off was on a picture that was on my MySpace, and he sort of took it and he used that as my appearance. That was actually a picture I took after a special event at my high school, and that's pretty old. That was like a 3 or 4 year old picture at the time, and which is how Chris found it. I guess the funny thing about 4-cent garbage is he got that part wrong. I guess someone told him about 4chan and how he was just sort of a mockery on it and how people kept making fun of him. So I guess he sort of assumed that because I was like the first troll that I was the leader of all these people on 4chan, which is not true. I have absolutely no power whatsoever. I just really post there. So he made the comic based off that, and he put those two things together and got it wrong. The whole comic was just really scary, to be honest. I've honestly not read past the part I was in, just because of how fucking stupid the whole thing is. I'll probably do that sometime. Probably do some actual commentary on that. I did read the first part where he was talking about Sonic Chew and Rose Chew have sex. That was funny because he doesn't really know anything about sex whatsoever and how female genitalia work. It's funny and sad at the same time, really. He's just so lost and he doesn't really know anything about it. And then there was the time people were accusing him of being gay, and a lot of people were, convinced that he was just so overwhelming trying to say, "Oh, I'm straight." And I guess with this comic, he was just sort of trying to go for that he was straight by having his two creations have sex. So yeah, his mind is pretty fucked up in that regard. He's lost. But yeah, I think like the weirdest part about the entire thing is that it's supposed to be a kid's comic. I mean, he's 26 years old, but he has the mindset of a 10-year-old. And this comic is sort of the way for him to vent his, frustrations on the world and defeat his real-life enemies in this comic. So he can get revenge against these people that have wronged him. And at this point, it just sort of turned from this kid-friendly mixture of Sonic and Pokemon and turned it into his own sexual fantasies, which is scary. I mean, especially in the end when Rose Chew was face raping me. That was like the most hilarious part of it because he was just so crazy. I can barely even describe it, really. He went so far out to try to get women to support him based off the dialogue he did of Rose Chew, and it just sounded so weird. It's just amazing how much you can find out about this guy just by reading his comics. I mean, yeah, there's all the YouTube videos of him showing all his crazy antics, but that's like a small portion of his mind. on a whole bigger picture of how fucked up he really is. The funny thing about Kathleen, though, was that when we were actually broken up at the time, it had absolutely nothing to do with the comic itself, and actually Chris sent her an email at the time telling her about me and just sort of saying, "Oh, I'm a bad person, I trolled him," and all that, and Kat never got it because she was on dial-up at the time and she never really checked her email that much. Kat actually has no idea about the comic. I've never told her or showed her the comic. So, Kat, if you're watching this, sorry I never told you. Yeah. So yeah, at that point, that reference with Kat was sort of outdated. And after that, I sort of exchanged emails with him a little bit. He actually sent me an email afterwards, after he did the comic, saying, "Haha, I put you in a comic and making fun of you as well." That was sort of the last time I really talked to Chris for about a year or so. And then the troll girlfriends happened. It was hilarious. I had really nothing to do with it. So that was like a completely different thing. I pretty much followed him up until the Guitar Hero contest. Basically what happened was, around the time Guitar Hero World Tour came out, Chris entered himself in, and all these people on Encyclopedia Dramatica voted for him, and he actually won the contest, at least the preliminary part, and he got a $400 gift card from GameStop for it. And it was stupid, because why would you want him to win? Why would you give him the satisfaction of it? And because of that, his ego increased because of that. Afterwards, he had this delusion that he had this big, giant fan base that would do whatever he wanted. And that was just stupid. But that was about the time I went off and continued with life. Until later that year, what sort of dragged me back into the Sonic Chew affairs was when his website got hacked. Basically what happened was someone pretended to be me and hacked his website and his email and just sort of screwed it all up. And he went ballistic because of that. He just went online and started posting my email. He posted my phone number. I think he posted where I lived. He didn't have my address or anything. He still doesn't. But, yeah, he did all that. And how I found out about it was I was actually out with a friend at the time, and someone called me and sort of filled me in on everything. And after I got back later that night, about 12 p.m., he actually called me and left me a very, very angry voice message with him basically saying, "Jason Kendrick Howell, you bastard! You bastard! You hacked into everything! You've driven me so far up the wall I can't even describe it! I'll break you dead! Goodbye!" Or something like that. That was basically the entire message. You can probably find the message somewhere on YouTube. I sort of regret this because I never picked up, I never heard the phone, and I never picked up, so, and I really wanted to fuck with him so badly, but I never got the chance to do that. Anywho, we're at the end of the, retrospective, so, I'll see you next issue, bye.
Most of my pitiful life by tormenting every person within my grasp until they all die from the shame and the distress of their existence. The page will stay up. This meeting is over. What'd you say? I will not let you stand up to me and talk to me like that.
Hey everyone, it's the third video. Most of the stuff I'm going to talk about right now is more recent stuff, so we're basically over the older stuff at this point, so enjoy. So yeah, trying to get that voice message recorded at the time was sort of hard because I didn't have a mic at the time, so what I had to do was I had to go over to a friend's house and use his mic to record it, which took several tries because my phone's so crappy and it always picked up static and stuff, and it took a while. But after that, that was sort of the point where I looked into like the more recent Chris Chan antics and just found out everything he's done since then. I really haven't done much since the comic. But the last major thing I did was I actually reported his house to the various government agencies in Greene County, Virginia, after he released those videos of his house. And the reason I did that was it was just so filthy, and he had animals in there, and they were shitting everywhere, and it was just unclean, not sanitary. It was sort of a fire hazard in a way, health hazard too, really. And basically, the Greene County government agencies sort of blew me off, saying that wasn't really their problem. Virginia's weird like that. Who knows? But the other thing I actually did was, sort of as a joke, I actually sent him a copy of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, the first disc, because I had a spare copy lying around. And basically, it got sent back because he actually stopped taking packages at that point. So yeah, that was sort of wasted potential. I was sort of hoping he'd play it and just sort of talk about it a little bit, but he never did. But probably the most amazing thing about Chris Chan is that he can dig himself deeper than he currently is in, just because of all the stupid shit he does. Like, for example, one of the biggest things people outside the internet might know him for was when he drank his own man juice, for Christ's sakes. He actually made a series of videos of him doing random stuff, like taking a shower nude, running around the house naked, doing crazy stuff. And the big thing was when he drank his own man juice with some soda. He actually admitted afterwards that he did this to recycle his own semen, which was the nastiest thing that he ever really revealed to people. The other crazy thing he actually did was the sex videos, which was like the big turning point for him when we pretty much figured out there was something definitely wrong with him in the head. The first thing he did was he actually posted some nude pictures of him on the internet, sort of showing off his ass and penis and stuff. And the hilarious part about it was he put a picture of Sonic Chew on his penis. It was crudely drawn, and his dick was like bent or something. It's some sort of weird medical condition. I don't know. That was weird. And another thing he did was he posted a video of himself. Well, not really posted, but he was actually recording a video for some troll or something, fake girlfriend, and he was actually jacking off into a cup. And that was leaked, and that was nasty as hell. And then the big sex video that a lot of people remember is it was around the time he was seeing this one troll that was pretending to be his girlfriend, and he actually had sex with a blow-up doll while yelling "Julie!" This was fucking crazy. And it actually, he gave it to her, and it got leaked, and he never thought that, you know, that girl might have been a troll or something. I don't think it was actually a girl, but it was just crazy at the time. Another thing that sort of amazes me is how low quality most of his YouTube videos are, mainly because he uses that iToy camera of his. Good thing about that, though, is he doesn't have much quality on that, so we don't see like all the horrors that are in the background, because I'm sure Chris probably looks really, really bad in real life, and probably has like a lot of pimples and stuff that are sort of masked by the camera a little bit. I'm not even sure if he has a PC or not. I think he did at one point, but ever since, I think his parents banned it off. He was banned off it. He's used his PS3 for pretty much everything. Like I said, I don't even know how he edits his YouTube videos most of the time. Unless he uses like a PC we don't really know about. But Bob's actually pretty fucking awesome. We do sort of blame him for some of the things that Chris has a problem with, and he is a bit of a racist, but he's actually one of the few that actually stands up to Chris about certain things. And he actually barged in one of his recent videos and said, "Shut that goddamn thing off now." And that was basically the best thing I ever saw in a while. I watched that like 5 or 6 times, just laughing at it. But yeah, Bob's pretty fucking awesome, like I said. I do check in on Chris every now and then just to see what's going on. If it's not too funny, I'll usually ignore it, but you know, he always has something going on. You might occasionally see something on V about it, but otherwise, most of it's pretty much died down a little bit. He actually was on like a radio show. People were actually talking about like the video of him drinking his own cum, and I didn't know what they said, but some people know about what he's done. I think he was on Web Soup too. I don't know which video that was. I think it was one of the tamer ones because it was on TV. But yeah, there's still stuff that occasionally comes out that makes you think that there's still more that he can do before hitting rock bottom and either getting arrested or getting sent to a mental institution of some sort. The sad thing is there's actually been legit people that have been trying to help him, but he doesn't really listen too well, whether he be autistic or whatever. But basically, he does not listen to men very well. He mainly listens to girls, although he's a little smarter than he used to be, and is starting to doubt a lot of stuff he hears. Like, if you're a girl and you said that, oh, I might be your girlfriend if you do this and that, in the past he might actually do it, but now he sort of wised up a little bit and he's a lot smarter. But with men, he doesn't really listen at all unless you've done something to him, and holding something to ransom like his PSN. That's happened a few times. I can go on and on about the PSN thing. I probably will, but with like men, he thinks that they're either instantly trolls or they're going to take away his possible boyfriend-free girls away, which is very, very weird. He just has like a very deep distrust of men in general. Mainly because he wants to not be a virgin anymore. Okay, everyone, it's the last episode. A few other things I just want to talk about, and a little surprise at the end. Hope you enjoy. And then there's recent stuff, like the recent Ian thing, where there was this one dude that sounded almost exactly like Chris, and had the same name as him. I'm not sure if that was actually true or not, but it pissed Chris off a lot. And he called the new Chris an imposter. We sort of refer to this Chris as Liquid Chris, sort of a counterpart to Chris that's pretty much a whole bunch more likable than what Chris really should be. People also sort of trolled Chris and referred to him as sort of a fake Chris and called him Ian. This eventually got pretty heated, and they had this music competition, and Chris just got really, really into it, and got really angry when Liquid Chris actually won, because Liquid Chris actually put some effort into it while Chris was half-assing it like he always does. But that was like the biggest thing that recently happened with him. Then there was the thing where his father came in the room and demanded he take all the videos out of his house down of YouTube, which is impossible because of all the mirrors people have posted. But yeah, that's basically Chris in a nutshell. I've some of the stuff I've said is a little disoriented and a little out of order at this point. I'm pretty much just rambling about everything that sort of just happened recently. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I could talk about, like the Ivy stuff and stuff that's happened with Clyde Cash. But I won't get too much into that. You could probably dig some stuff up yourself about it. It's very common. You can look up stuff on YouTube or, Google and all that. Oh yeah, there was another thing I wanted to talk about. Back earlier in the year, there was this one girl named Emily that actually managed to lure Chris out on a fake date. What basically happened was they went to a local mall that Chris used to go to, and Chris brought his father, Bob, with him. Some of the other trolls came as well, and they sort of stealth-recorded some of it, and they had some that they had to do with audio because you weren't allowed to bring video cameras into the mall. But basically, what happened was Bob basically stole Chris's thunder and just started rambling about all this other stuff. It was awesome because Chris couldn't really get much in, even though it was his date. But yeah, Chris apparently got a little touchy with her too, and she resisted him pretty well. He was scary apparently when she was out on a date with him. The funniest part though was there was an actual guy in a pickle suit that came and took Emily away with him. And Chris actually followed for a little bit and talked to the guy in the pickle suit, and pickle suit guy was being really sarcastic, just sort of saying, "Oh, I don't know you" or anything. And Chris was petrified. Apparently, he called the cops or something, or said he called the cops. He bullshits all the time like that. But that was like one of the funnier things. You can find that on YouTube somewhere. Most of it you can only find like the Pickle Man suit in the audio portion, but the actual date you can actually see in video with Bob there in all his glory. So yeah, with that being said, we have come to the end of our journey. I hope you enjoyed this really, really, really horrifying and strange look into the past of Sonic Chew. There's a few other things I wanted to say, but because of time I couldn't really say them, but I hope you enjoyed. Good luck, and good night.
Goes to the director, and the director's protest. For our rights as women among all people, I will overpower those slanderous jerks. Dun 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 dun. End of the episode. Stay tuned for the next one.
Been a while. Yes, the retrospective is done. The information was leaked as you requested. No, Chris is not aware of your true identity. Yes, I am sure the miscredits will be happy with our progress. It won't be long until our goals will finally be fulfilled. Yes, I do think you are such a man to lead the movement in the right direction. Yes, goodbye, Mr. Maze. The Conway River, 2 years ago, we had classified intelligence that a new type of virgin was stealing from his parents and inappropriately touching women. The whole thing stank, but her noses had been out in the cold too long. Hi everyone, this is sort of a special edition of the Chris Chan retrospective. There was some stuff in the original I wanted to talk about, but I had to cut because of Chris's original videos. So I'm doing this sort of special 5th episode just to sort of tie everything off. Just sit back and enjoy like always. Bye. Oh yeah, I should tell you about something else that happened before everything with ED happened. Basically, there was this one girl named Megan that he met through this one card shop he used to play the Pokemon trading card game at, and he sort of befriended. Apparently, Megan was used to use sort of Chris as a way to get stuff off eBay for her, and Chris, in return, apparently liked her, even though that was one-sided, basically. Since she was basically one of the few girls that would talk to him, but never go running the other way screaming because of all the stupid shit he does. But anyway, basically, Chris got a little bit too comfortable with Megan a little bit. He used to touch her and just make moves on her that she didn't like. And she talked to Chris about it several times. When his emails got leaked, it sort of showed all the stuff he sent to Megan, and how Megan just basically slowly got angrier and angrier after every time she told him to fuck off and not touch her, and he still did. Basically, what happened was the main thing that caused them to sort of stop talking to each other was the Papa the Rapper contest. And basically, Chris entered this one contest because just sort of like the Guitar Hero contest in order to win something. It was a trip, actually, and he lost, and he complained about the winner cheating or something. And of course, knowing Chris, he was pretty far off the handle at that point. But basically, after Chris told her about the whole thing, she basically was fed up with it because she told him that she didn't want to go on any trip with a person that kept touching her inappropriately, and just basically said that she just wanted to be friends and not have any sort of other contact or have him talk about personal stuff with her. After he sort of stopped talking with Megan for a little bit, Chris finally found the Encyclopedia Dramatica page. Basically, what really set Megan off, even after all the stuff Chris did to her, he actually uploaded some pictures of her, drawn pictures of her and him having sex. And at first, people thought it was Chris's imaginary child, Crystal, or something like that. And Chris actually pointed out in a YouTube video very angrily that it was actually Megan. She somehow found out about it, and she was mortified about it. She was scared. She sent Chris an email saying that he was not to speak to her ever again, and that she was basically disgusted with how he portrayed her in this comic. Apparently, a lot of people that actually were close to Megan have said that she moved out of Greene County, and I'm not sure if that's because of Chris or just other stuff, but she was pretty shaken up even afterwards. And I mean, I feel sorry for her because, you know, she was sort of dragged into this, you know, out of her will, and it was all Chris's fault. The trolls had absolutely nothing to do with it. He was the one who uploaded all those pictures to Encyclopedia Dramatica, and I just feel sorry for her. She's probably scared shitless that he's going to come and rape her or something. And she's had like no contact with the trolls whatsoever, but Bob apparently thinks that she's like the lead troll or something. I don't know, but he has his illusions too at times, I guess. And Chris apparently still likes her to some point because he actually mentioned her in a recent video. And oh god, I don't know why. He's just so delusional, thinking that he can still get her even after all the shit he did to her. Anywho, this is the end of part 1 for episode 5. I sort of had to cut this one short because I was running out of time, and I said a lot, actually. So, see you in part 2. Hey everyone, this is part 2 of episode 5. If you've not watched the first part, I recommend you do so. Sorry I had to cut it short. I had said a lot, and it was over 10 minutes, and I wanted to get everything in, so enjoy. Oh yeah, another really good thing to talk about is the card shop Chris used to go to. Basically, back then, that was where he met Megan at, and he used to be a Pokemon League aide for the person that ran it, and he got into a lot of mischief there. He did a lot of stuff even before the trolls found out about him. He used to, argue with people all the time and just about various stuff, thinking he was a lot better than them at Pokemon. And he actually dressed up as Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. And he actually brought some of the Sonic Chew comics for people to read. And he apparently got banned, actually several times, apparently. I'm not sure of that, but he actually got banned for going in the back without the owner's permission and getting something that he wasn't supposed to. And keep in mind that he's not an employee, so he had no right to go in the back. But another troll named Mims actually said that he got banned when he started to argue with another one of the customers, which he apparently did often. But that was like the last straw that caused him to get permanently banned. The gameplay is actually sort of important in a way, because that was like the first time we found Chris in the wild, basically. One of the trolls took a picture of him and put it up on Encyclopedia Dramatica. Chris was really freaked out about this, to the point where he actually demanded the person who owned the shop to take the surveillance footage and give it to him so he can figure it out and call the police or something. I mean, it's just funny to me. I mean, I used to really be big into the Pokemon trading card game as well, but I gave that up when I was like 13. Chris is, what, 27, 28, and he's still picking arguments with kids about it. The last major thing, though, I wanted to talk about was Chris's PSN account, and that's probably the worst thing he's actually done. Basically, Chris is very, very addicted to his PS3, to the point where he's so addicted that he has put his parents and himself in debt buying stuff off the PlayStation Network that he has never played, never used, and probably never will use. Just to give you a general idea how bad this is, Chris is on welfare. He gets a monthly check each month to live off of, and his parents have the same thing because of their disabilities and such. Instead of actually putting the money into house cleaning or other things that could be used to help them, he is wasting taxpayers' money by buying all this stuff that he shouldn't be buying, even though he's never going to use it and he's not really supposed to. Just to give you a general idea how bad this isn't like $100, $200. This is $2,000 deep in debt because he actually stole his parents' credit cards to do this. And I would really love to see him getting reported for this, because this is like the most atrocious thing he's done at all. But of course, they won't listen to anyone, from another state like Tennessee, where I live. But not only that, but he's apparently not all that great with the game he actually plays. I mean, he does play some of the shit like Sonic 2006, and he's actually got all the trophies on that, but why? It's like the worst game you can think of to actually play it so much that you get all the trophies off that. It's just a horrible monstrosity, but with other games, he actually doesn't play them too much. Like, there was a list of all the PSN, not only PSN games, but like original PlayStation games, PS3 games, and he has a lot of them, and he doesn't barely play any of them. Like for example, he a lot of his trophies are from the very first parts of most of the games, where he might play for a little bit and then quit for whatever reason, and he is not really. He's not. Keep in mind that he's wasting money too. Buying these games. These are $60 games that he's buying. Well, that or $30, depending on where he gets it from. But he's wasting all this money on stuff he doesn't even play, and that's money that could be put into other stuff. Yet the state of Virginia keeps paying, the channelers to waste money. It's horrible. There are a lot worse people that are worse off, and he is taking money from them, and it's just horrible. It's really horrible. But anywho, that was most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Like I said, there was a few other things I wanted to talk about, which I covered. Megan, the game shop, and then the PSN account. Those are like the three things I actually had to cut from the original script of the commentary. So I hope you enjoyed this sort of special edition that sort of concludes everything. This will be the last one, and thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of this, and if you still need to find out any info about Chris or just sort of the past, you can go on CWC Wiki, and you'll be able to find that. You can find it on Google. It's really easy to find. But hope you enjoyed, and good night.
I stare at the stars and the sky up above and think, what am I made of? Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled with love? I walk by myself on the streets below and ask every child I know, do you think tomorrow will bring sun or rain? Which one of these will show? I can't say goodbye to yesterday.
Jason, are you there? It's me. I finished going over the list. Did you find the miscreants list? Of course. It contains the personal data of 12 people. There was a name on it, Jason. It was one of our biggest contributors. What's going on around here? I don't know. Anyway, where are they? Well, we were right about them being in Virginia, but... But what? They're already dead. All 12 of them. When did it happen? Well, about 100 years ago. What the hell?
72nd floor, 2 p.m. Sonichu and Rosachu approach a cloaked figure in the spacious, empty room. At his side is a woman on a leash.
Visitors, welcome to my hell. I am Jason, a 21-year-old troll who offers slanderous mockeries. This is my accomplice, Kathleen. You two are here to talk about the Christian page on my force and garbage website.
Sonichu and Rosachu look to each other and nod. Mm-hmm, says Sonichu.
Mm-hmm,
says Rosachu. Yes, sir. My loving, caring sweetheart and I have come to discuss the webpage in question, says Sonichu. We humbly request that it would be removed from the internet for good. For you are not just dragging Christian Weston Chandler's name in the mud, you also drag the American hopes and dreams and ideas of the majority of these great, humble United States of America along with it. You've had your laughs, but ask yourself, is it really worth it to continue on with these slanders that drags the names of the good people within this country that was founded with love and peace within it, that those before us have fought valiantly to withhold, that I was born and raised under the old glory that is the red, white, and blue? As Sonichu speaks, Rosachu takes hold of his arm in loving admiration. In my humble answer, says Sonichu, I say nay. What is your answer, Mr. Howell?
I say that you are a sap. I am a troll with no beliefs. I know that we are born, then we die. I intend to make the most of my pitiful life by tormenting every person within my grasp until they all die from the same distress of their existence. The page will stay up. This meeting is over.
What'd you say? Growls Sonichu. Enraged, Sonichu attacks Jason with a powerful blast of electricity, but Jason calmly deflects the attack with a force field from his hand. Sonichu charges Jason with his blinding speed. Ah! He shouts, throwing a punch. But he finds himself frozen in midair, suspended by Jason's telekinetic power, his fist inches from Jason's hooded face. Rosachu looks on in horror as Jason raises Sonichu into the air and flings him across the room. Whoa! Says Sonichu. Rosachu holds out her hands to catch him, and he lands with a thump into her arms.
Sonichu, are you alright? Sonichu? Sonichu?
Sonichu mumbles.
What?
Asks Rosachu. My angel was right on time, Sonichu says wearily, to catch my home run.
Oh,
Says Rosachu, hugging him. Helping him to his feet, Rosachu turns to leave.
Sonichu, let's go. There's no reasoning with that jerk.
But, protests Sonichu,
Forgiveness, just like Joseph taught us.
They leave, arm in arm, and Sonichu takes one last bitter look at the villain who has humbled him so completely. Jason taunts the hedgehogs as they leave.
That's right, Rosechew. Go and play with your pickle.
Adding injury to insult, he throws a pickle at the two, hitting Rosachew on the back of her head. Overcome with rage, Rosachew kneels down to pick up the pickle and crushes it in half in her fist. Seething with fury, Rosachew's eyes turn blood red, and a crimson aura of rage surrounds her body. She glares menacingly at the shadowy Jason, while a confused Sonichu looks on.
Sonichu, get ready to fetch my clothes,
She says, unzipping her shoes. Sure, says Sonichu. Rosachew leaps into the air, leaving her shoes behind.
I've got 3 shocking bits for you, jerk. I am the power. I am the warrior. I am the almighty woman. True to all of my gender, I will overpower any evil or good man who defies us and make Hum succumb to our will. I have the almighty uterus that makes me strong and super powerful enough to protect the loved ones within me until they emerge to their glorious birth. By my ferocious will, I shall punish he who has defied my people with the worst unnatural addition ever. By this one's heinous hand, I am woman. Hear me roar! Roar, 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 roar!
She screams as she looms menacingly over Jason's head, completely nude. She hits Jason crotch first in the face and wraps her legs around his neck and her tail around his back. Horrified, Jason makes no move to defend himself as Rosachew sneers with a sadistic smile on her face. She plants her fingers into Jason's exposed scalp and rips into the flesh of his head. Like a crazed demon, she gleefully bites down on the wound she has created and releases a titanic surge of electrical power. Whoa, thinks Sonichu, observing the carnage from afar. Jason collapses, lying on the floor with blood pouring from his head, his true face revealed.
I should be dead, but dark forces are keeping me alive. What a show!
Landing at Sonichu's feet, Rosachew collapses in exhaustion.
I say that you are sap, my dear electric rodent. I am nothing more than a troll with no beliefs.
Yeah, Christian's pretty fucking insane. Anyway, this has been Jason, signing off.
Inside the 4-cent garbage building, Beale, Clyde Cash, and Jack Thaddeus approach the throne of Jason Kendrick Howell.
Jason, we need to get the hell out of here now!
Yes, we have no musical defense, and this building is going down.
I agree.
Around them, the building rumbles and the windows crack. Jason's minery woman slave, Kathleen, cowers by his side in tears.
Kathleen and I, we need to escape and retire forever at our 2-story house in the suburbs.
Reaching for a button on the armrest of his throne, he adds,
Like Christian, and unlike you 2 gaywads, I am straight, and I refuse to continue this retarded game of mockery and slander and remain in this hobby of hell.
Jason presses the button and his throne converts into an escape pod, covering himself and Kathleen in a transparent dome.
We are Audi 5000. Goodbye forever, you d***ing trolls. Jesus, save us too.
The pod launches, soaring out of the building through a hatch in the roof, leaving the others to their fate.
Ugh, game over.
Yep, hey Red Dude, didn't Chrissy kill you a short while ago?
Yes, Christian killed me with his hyper beam. But where was I gonna go? Detroit? No, this trolling nigger's my hell. After this building's crumbling fall, I'll be d***ed to Count Graduan. I was made assistant to Adolf Hitler. Biggest mistake ever. Right in that fucker's face. You, Clyde Cash and Thaddeus, for being homos, you both will have the minion devils gnawing and gnashing on your ass for all eternity. Not only for being homos, but for trolling and slandering and tarnishing and nonsense man's good name, and further darkening all kinds of name among you not only Christian, but to everyone in the entire world. Yet, as a devil myself, I can do this.
Eel crosses his arms over his chest and sinks into a dark portal in the floor.
I shall be hiding in the shelter in the basement until this event blows over. To you two, good luck in the Earth's lava core.
Abandoned, Jack and Clyde look to each other.
Well, Clyde, we have only two options. Die by Chris's hands or suicide. How do you want to die?
Not from his hands or power ever. I vote for suicide down the 72 elevator story shaft.
Right. We're unanimous then. Shall we go out holding hands?
Why not? We both are anyway. For torturing Chris emotionally and mentally. We were not doing our homo kind any favors. We worsened Chris's view of our kind.
And as the building begins to collapse, the two hold hands and face oblivion together as lovers.
Well, see you in hell, Jack.
Am I full of sorrow? Am I hurt and pain? Or am I filled with love? I walk by myself on the streets below.
Seriously, what the fuck did I just record?
I vote for suicide down the 72-story elevator shaft. I vote for suicide down the 72 elevator story shaft. Wait. I vote for suicide down the 72 elevator floor shaft. Why do I keep fucking that up? I'm doing a different voice every time, aren't I? Why not? We're both are... Why not, brother?
So you're recording right now. Okay. Jason, we need to get the hell out of here now. Oh, I'm gonna do that again. Right. We are what? What the fuck is this word? Unanimous. Unanimous. Then shall we go out? Unanimous. Shit.